I was driving with our teen a few weeks ago, and he's had his license for over a year now. One thing he does is that he will go 0 to 50 like that. He will go the speed limit. He won't go over the speed limit, but he will drive as fast as you can and come up to a vehicle and slow down at the last minute. And, we talk to him about it's winter and being mindful and all that. Uh, and it's something, we hope he's going to learn, but he continues to do it. And we have pointed out the fact that you don't actually really get there any quicker. And if you think about when you're driving and you see someone coming up beside you and they zoom past you in the city and weave in and out of traffic, and then you catch them at the same red light. That's a lot of time how things go. And so when you think about slowing down the pace, a lot of times when people hear that, they think, oh, I'm not going to hit my goals. I'm not going to be as successful or perform at a high level. When in fact, you're more likely to end up at the same place, maybe even better because it was a more peaceful ride as you went there. But it doesn't mean that you're missing out. It means that you are driving better, that you are uh, moving at a pace that makes more sense. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. Because a lot of times, and I've heard this from people the last couple of weeks, is that work is crazy. It's crazy already, or kids' activities ramping up again, and things already feel crazy, and I miss the slower days from the break. And that will happen. There will be lots of people rushing around you. There will be lots of projects and deadlines, and the pace can feel crazy. I'm not for a minute denying that that's your reality. What I do want to invite you to and encourage you is to not just be operating at full speed or get pulled into the craziness, to be more intentional, to set your own pace and to, in fact, slow down the pace. If you are someone who feels like your days are super rushed and you're just going from one thing to the next and it feels like a grind and you have too much to do, and whether it's in your work or at home or both, slowing down can make a really big difference. Because when you slow down, it is easier to be more present in the moment. It is easier to see those choices on what is actually most important in the moment and what should get your time and attention. And you feel less stressed when you do. And so today, what I want to talk about is 3 areas to be more mindful, where to slow it down. And then I'm going to close with what can help you think about setting your own pace. So the first area of slowing it down is, and I say this over and over and over again, if you follow me, is it does come with doing less. It does come to committing with less. If you have meetings all day long and projects all day long, and then your kids are in a whole bunch of activities, and you are volunteering on this board and doing this and that, which are all good things. But when you have too many of them, that leads to you, uh, the pace to be pretty fast moving, to go, go, go. And so if that is you, then giving yourself permission to take some things off your plate. Now, this is one area I don't really have a problem with anymore. I used to, but it is something that I still, if I did not, all the things I share with you, if I was not intentional about it, I would overcommit myself because my instinct is still always to say yes. Not to things that I really, really, really don't want to do, but a lot of times it's like, I want to help, I want to be there. And so it's like, say yes. And it's like, don't, because then you end up over committing and the pace gets faster. It moves up. When you have more things to go to and get to, the pace does pick up. And so one thing to be mindful of is doing less or committing to less. And earlier on, when my kids were younger, like one way we did that is our kids were only in one activity at a time. Other than swimming, we did swimming as well because we really cared about that, but one activity at a time so that we were not rushing from one thing to the next. At work, is getting clear on where you add the highest value, what are the projects you should be on, and letting your team handle other things, and not being in all the things. Because what that does is, again, it just has you overcommitted and jam-packed and going from one thing to the next. And we'll talk about what you can do if you're in that. But first thing is to be mindful not to overcommit yourself. And if you have already overcommitted yourself, to take some things off your plate. That is going to help you slow the pace. Okay. And the next area to be mindful of is, regardless of what's going on, to be mindful of how you're moving through those moments. So you can, it's kind of like that driving, my team driving earlier, you can like go quickly and get here, but we kind of end up at the same place. And we can go through our day and we can be moving really quickly or being really frantic and rushing from one thing to the next. And that just leaves you feeling more stressed out. And you likely aren't showing up with the people around you the way you want. But we can also go through that with more calm, with more, less rushing. And that makes a really big difference how we feel. And one thing that can help with that is finding a perspective, a way of looking at your day that feels aligned with you, that helps you slow it down. And so, what I mean by that is, one perspective for me is that, and this really helped in my corporate career, was that when I was trying to stop overworking and overcommitting, is that we are not saving lives. Now, that did not mean we are doing important work and people are important, and that is true, but we weren't saving lives. And for me, what that helped me do, and that worked for me, it might not work for someone else, but that worked for me. It helped take me out of this frantic place. It helped me to stop, like, oh my gosh, I gotta get this done. I gotta get here. I gotta go. And that made a big difference. It also helped in my personal life. It helped me not be so rush from one thing to the next, as well. And so, what that also does is, when you can slow it down, when you can be more present in the moment, even just try like not rushing out the door and like just move out the door. You got to get to where you're going and let go of that frantic energy. You feel less stressed. A lot of stress that comes to us is because we're like, I got to go, I got to be there, I got to get out. And that leaves us feeling more anxious and stressed. And so, being more present in the moment and slowing it down and be more in calm. What that does is that helps you. That also helps other people around you. So just being more mindful how you move through your moments in the day. And that's even now, if I feel like I'm like, my heart is racing, I'm like, I gotta get here. It's like, that is a cue for me to slow it down. And our emotions are not bad. We all feel overwhelmed. We all feel frustrated at times. They are a cue to pay attention. Instead of treating it as a bad thing, treat it as a cue to pay attention and go, okay. And so for me, when I get that kind of panic, that rushing feeling, it is, okay, slow it down. Be more calm in this moment. What do we need to get to? A really great question that can also help is, what matters most right now? That brings you back to the present moment. Instead of thinking, I got to get here and I got to do all these things, what matters most right now? And if it's just to get the kids out the door to the next thing, just be present with that and move through that. If it is to get this task done by deadline, just focus on that and move through that. What matters most right now? And the right now is key because it brings you back to the present moment. And that'll help you feel less stressed and overwhelmed when you do, and slow it down in the moment. And then the third place to be more mindful of it, and this ties with our emotions, is when you're feeling frustrated, when you're feeling tension, when the pressure is on. And I'm not just talking about like going through your day. It's like when you feel like you're late for something, or You need to speed up someone else to get to where you're going, or you're worried that you're not going to hit a deadline and the pressure's on, and that frustration or that overwhelm when it gets more intense. And those are the moments always to pay attention, because when we make choices from that place, when we move through our day or our moment from that place, you're not showing up as your best. Well, I'm not showing up as my best. That's one thing with communication. When we are frustrated, just knowing that you are no longer communicating effectively when you are frustrated, because that's just how we work, that can help you just take a breather, slow it down. And you can then, if you have to step away, you have to step away, but then you can, have that conversation with more presence and go through that more stressful situation in a calmer way. Again, never means that we're perfect. We all have moments where our emotions get the best of us or our frustration gets the best of us, but those are moments you really want to be more mindful of. Now, how does this all come back to pace? So pace is that it's not just how much we do, it is that feel like how we're going through our day, that feeling of constant pressure or urgency for things, and the pace that we move through our day. And for some people, like everybody's different. Some people operate at a busier pace, and that is okay. Like that ramps them up, that helps them feel good. Some people need to operate more at a slower pace, a more um, you know, move through their day in a different way, and that is okay too. What matters is how you're going through it. So, however fast you move, are you going through it with more presence and being intentional and being mindful how you are showing up with others? If you're not, that is where you do want to slow it down. And how you can start to think about what your own pace is just look back at, what are those days or weeks that felt better for you. That's a great way to figure out your boundaries as well. But just what are those days that felt better for you? What are, a stressful situation that you went through it and you were proud of how you went through it and you handled it well? What did that feel like? How did you go through it? That gives you a sense of what pace is right for you. And we all kind of have our optimal capacity and pace we move through. There are things when I get too much on the go, is that I can all of a sudden, like the pace can feel too much. But regardless of that, regardless of how much you have on the go, you always, always can still choose how you go through it. Okay. And being mindful of that. So pay attention to what pace feels right for you, and then start to be more intentional. Put your boundaries around that, to align your actions with your values, to be more intentional about what you say yes and what you say no to, because that is what sets you up to be your best. That's what helps you be present in the everyday moments and for those moments that matter. But it doesn't just happen. We need to be intentional with it and do it and set ourselves up in a way that works for you. And so, even if work is crazy, even if there's lots of, people rushing around you, or life is feeling a little on the out of control side right now, coming back to, you still have a choice how you show up in that. You still have a choice on the pace you set and how you go through it. And when you operate from that place, you are more intentional and make decisions that set you up for that pace instead of getting pulled into the crazy with everyone else. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just, habit, or that constant urgency that you might be swept up in, but also knowing that it can stay that way unless you step back and be intentional with how you are showing up and what you are saying yes and no to and how much you have on your plate. And when you do that, you feel more balanced in your life. You can feel more balanced within and less stressed out. And that's what I'll just leave you with. No matter what's going on with you, be more intentional with how you show up in your day, how you move through the moments. Bring yourself back to what matters most right now. And uh, like I said, We can go through our day rushing, 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 or we can go through it with that more intention. People tend to end up in the same place. And even if you are somebody who does a lot less, you tend to you're still successful because you're doing more of the things that matter. You're not doing all the noise and distraction and getting pulled into that. And so again, just be more mindful of it. So the question I'm going to leave you with for this week is, what is a pace that feels more aligned for you, and what is one thing you could do to set yourself up for that? Because we take these actions one step at a time and you start to put that into place. It doesn't mean it happens overnight, but you start now, and it's like, what's your next right move? What's your next right move that aligns with the pace that you want and how you want to feel and your values and show up in your life, and start to put those actions in place. Okay. And if you would like some help to do that, January 14th is the last day to sign up for my annual January workshop. It's the only thing that I host personally in person, and it is a chance for us to spend the day together, and we explore what it looks like for you to create more balance and less stress in your life, in your day, and in your year, and how you work and how you lead. And it's for professional women. This one thing is specifically for professional women. And we will explore your mindset and your values and boundaries and priorities, and communicating that and feeling more confident in your choices. And it is a day with that bigger intention, not to figure those things out, like, yes, that's true, but really to shift that starting place. So instead of coming from, I'm so busy, or I'm burning out, or I'm just getting pulled into the crazy pace, it's actually switching it to go, if you were more balanced as a leader, what would you do? If you were more balanced in your life, what would you do? If you were operating at a pace that was more right for you, what would you do? And let your choices come from that place. So whether you join us that day or do it on your own, I'm cheering you on no matter what. And just remember, life is too short to be so busy. And when you slow the pace, you tend to feel happier. Because you're operating more at a pace that's right for you, you tend to feel happier. You focus more on the right things, and it's easier to catch yourself when things start to go sideways. All right. Have a good week, and we'll talk to you soon.